Alright, so now we're on this side of the bike, so we're going to work on the brake switch right here. Appears the rear brake is still working good. So we replaced all of this last time. This will be working. So they got a banjo bolt switch. And the disadvantage of these is they break all the time. So the switch has two wires that come out of it. It doesn't rotate, so as you tighten the bolt up, you twist the wire. And if you hardwire the wire in, like this is, there's no place to unscrew it or unpop it, disconnect it. You're kind of stuck with it. So this one here is zip tied up into here someplace and follows it on back, I guess. Trying to see where it goes to. There it is, right under here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a quick disconnect on this thing, right up here in the front. That way you can take the wire off, tighten the switch down, and then put the wire, connect it back together. So you need a little 2-wire hookup. This here is a boot that helps keep the wire from breaking right there on the end. So I'm going to use a little Deutsch connector, something small. So regular Deutsch connectors are right here. So this is a 2-wire system right here. So this is a relatively big piece here. Here's the other half. So you got this big ass thing right here hanging down on your bike. So it's about 2.5 inches long altogether. Pretty big. We don't have a high load system here, so we don't need a lot of high load. And we do want something to play with. So they make a miniature stuff. This is DTM. The DT is full size. DTM is for miniature. So this has the small stuff on it. And this will be a lot smaller. It's about a 25% reduction in size. Which doesn't sound like much, but it's quite, it looks like half the size altogether. Because this is the new one. So when you put this one all together here, it gets tighter. So this is your system here. So it goes in like that. So it's about 2 inches. But it's a lot smaller looking. So we're going to go ahead and use this system here. This also takes little miniature connectors here too. Everything is small. Little dinky connectors. So everything is real small. So it takes small pliers to make it work. It takes this style here, which you have to use, not the other one. Not the press and crimp. It's two different style Deutsch terminals. Somewhere over here is the one I'm looking for. This is the press and steel. This is one style plier. This is press and crimp. And this is the solid one. A little different. So this one here squeezes from 4 different directions at once. So see, it squeezes all the way down in 4 different ways. Gives you a lot better crimp. This one over here, it just squeezes from both sides. Yeah, just dropped everything on the floor a couple times. What the hell? So this one's a regular terminal connector where it just squeezes down on it like that, but it gives it a really good crimp. So each one of these tools costs about the same, and the price is not in tens of dollars, it's in hundreds of dollars. So I have both. I didn't know which one I wanted, so I bought both. I still got the original packaging, so my stuff came from Loud Industries, which used to own them. Now they're owned by other people. So I keep my tools in my boxes. in good condition, so it looks brand new, even though I've been using it for a lot of years. So there you go. Buy good tools, keep care of them, they look good. Yeah, see, it looks like that one right there. Okay, so we're going to use this one. This knob over here sets the depth of the pin that goes in, and how much it crimps it, so I'll have to determine that. Alright, so we're going to put this on the end of the plug over there, and we're going to put it on the end of the other piece, the banjo. And between the two of those, we're going to come up with a dimension that we want to use. So this stuff is not made to use with one hand. Nope, that ain't come apart. It's glued together or stuck real good. Probably stuck real good. Alright, so let's get everything set up over here. Should be able to see what I'm doing. Draw it here. There we go. So here's your booty. And one switch. See these little spade terminals they want you to use? I'm not using those. Okay, this goes through here. Somehow. Yeah, sure it does. You gotta get it just right to get that to go through. A little lube would probably help. He ain't getting no lube. We ain't lubing nothing tonight. We're using pure force tonight. Alright, so went ahead and jammed it all the way through. I get the booty back up where it belongs. Don't pull on those wires too hard right there either. Get it where you can see it would be nice. This is not the right tool. So I get a little nose picker in here. Get the rubber booty to come back up. There it is. Go ahead and push that on around there. Boom. That'll hold it in. So now you tighten this up here to wherever you need to be, and then you got to readjust this to what it needs to go to. So you don't want to twist on this too many times before you figure out where it's going to sit. So you got to be careful with it. Try to push the black covering all the way to the edge. So there's your black cover right to the edge there. So it's up close to the wires. Put that on top. We'll figure out where it's going to. Now we can rotate this just a little bit, then put this on. And like I said, don't play with it too many times because you will break these wires off. You could go buy another switch then. So this one here, we're going to figure out where we want to go to with this. We'll clip it off at some point. So we got to figure that out too over there because I don't know exactly where that point's going to be yet. So yet to be determined. But we got to figure it out. Okay, the switch is going to come out of here. It's going to leak fluid all over the place. So if you hold the pedal down a little bit, it will vacuum lock the fluid, so it shouldn't come out too far. We're going to get ourselves a little bit of fluid, a little bit of paper here. Catch any drippage we get. Okay. Must be metric. Let's see. Well, actually, putting pressure on it, it's just going to puke anyway. Just quit screwing around, just do it. Get your new seals ready to go. Just undo this and put the other one in there. Keep it upright so it doesn't leak any more than it has to. Leaked more than I wanted it to. Oh well. Didn't have any way of holding it. .99% of leakage is from the master cylinder, not from the line, so it'll bleed back pretty quickly. Okay, so we made a mess here. We get to clean this up. Get some more towels. Alright, this time we bring the whole roll with us. Okay, here's the old switch. Okay, so the banjo bolt's got fluid in it right now. We don't know how much fluid we have in the master cylinder though. I'm sure it's lower than it was. Take the fluid out. Take the cover off, see how much fluid we have. There. Screws act like they got Loctite on them. They do. They got Loctited. Okay, we got enough fluid here to work with, so that's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a manual bleed here. So you can see how much fluid we got left in the cylinder here. So we now have some air going through here a little bit. So I'm going to put a little bit of brake pressure on it right here on the pedal. And I'm going to pop the bleeder right here and bleed on the excess air. The hose itself has gotten fluid in it because it didn't drain out. If it was at the high spot. So the only air we got is right around the banjo bolt and whatever we got between here and there. We can beat that blood out right now by putting pressure on it. First thing you do is just get the air bubbles out like this. This will get out most all the air. So you can see how the piston uncovers that hole and all the air comes out. That's why I had to modify the length in here to make it work correctly. So now you got a good idea how it works. Now if the air bubbles in you can't see, just blow on them with your air, and they go away, see, instantly. See how that works? Just destroys the bubbles for some reason instantly. Okay. Now when it starts squirting up on you, you know you got good. Now we've got only a little bit of squirt, not a lot of squirt. So we got a little bit of air in there still. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and bleed it right over here. So that won't have that no more. So why are we getting leakage over here in the ground, in the back here? Must be leaking down the hose. It's leaking down the hose because I didn't tighten the fitting up. Because I was a dumbass talking instead of working. Yes, see, I never tightened the hose up. That's why it's leaking. Okay, a little more air came up there. Yeah, see, now I got the valve actually closed, the line closed here. See how it's pushing up like that now? That's what you want to see. Okay, so now I'm going to put a little pressure on the pedal over here. I'm going to pop the bleeder. We're already bleeding a little bit out already. Put a little pressure on. See, now it's not bleeding down because I tightened the valve up. Tighten it up, load it up again. Now we do it again. This time we stop about halfway down, right there. Put a good torque on that. Now we got a good hard pedal. See how it's blowing out the top real good. Because we get a good hard pedal. A lot of leakage on the floor down here. Or not on the floor, but on a bench. Trying to work its way to the floor. Wipe off all your excess. And we got to put some fluid in there. So we're using .5. Purple is a very common color for .5. They also have an amber variation out there that's around. Okay, pump it and make sure you got no more air in here. You got a pretty good hard pedal. Okay, the last trick you can do is if you have access to your rear brake caliper, is you go back here and you try to spread the pads out in here. And as you compress the pistons here in the caliper, it'll backflow the fluid all the way up in your master cylinder up to here. And if there's any air in there, it'll blow it right into the cylinder. So I'm going to try to do that in the back, so you can see if there's any fluid that comes out. Any bubbles. Let's see if I can compress it. These are brand new pads, so there's very little stuff to compress. Let's see if I am compressing. I don't know, did any bubbles come up? I can't tell. I see a couple bubbles there, so maybe they came up. Let's see if I can compress this further. Okay, I got compressed a little bit, so I'm assuming we had some bubbles come up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put some, see what happens. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and push the piston back down, so I know we got some reverse fluid coming out. Okay, now I got the rear brake working probably. We got a pretty hard pedal. So now my pedal doesn't go very far, see? It's hard right there. So that's a nice firm pedal. It doesn't really compress anymore. And we're getting spray back up on top here. The fluid's reversing back up a little bit like we want to see. So pretty good. So there's how you do it. So the camera would have showed how much air came back out. I don't know because I wasn't back there. So the pads are now back against the cylinder, against the disc rotor down here. I was able to get in here right between the pads there and spread them out a little bit. So it didn't do any damage to anything, but it moved the fluid backwards, which is what I was after. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and wire this up a little bit and get this all cleaned up. I'll be back.